from the front lines of faith and justice. This is Firebird Dispatch.
Hey Firebirds, this week in America we're tracking the spirit through national events that show how power has flexed its muscle. Deadly storms tore through towns where people were uninformed and not prepared, and the government picked a fight with one of the oldest learning institutions in the world. So let's break it down, because here at Firebird Spirit we believe knowledge is power, but only if we use it. Dateline, Washington, D.C. On Wednesday, the House of Representatives passed what they're calling the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a sweeping Trump-supported package that combines tax policy, spending cuts, and electoral strategy into one massive piece of legislation. What's inside it? Well, among other things, a permanent extension of the 2017 Trump tax cuts. Sounds great, doesn't it? Sounds like, oh, good, tax cuts, we're all going to get money back. But it mostly benefits corporations and the ultra wealthy. Perhaps you're part of that. I'm not. Neither is anyone I know. It does include some new tax deductions for workers who make tips and overtime. And that, I think, is supposed to take our vision off everything else that's going on. That's like, let's just throw it in an appeal to the working class voters and keep them from looking at the other things in this act. There are some temporary boosts to the child tax credit. Again, sounds great, but they're set to expire in 3 years when guess who leaves office. And the biggest thing, though, is that this whole new big, beautiful act, it really slams healthcare. You can say, well, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I've got insurance, or maybe you don't. But if you know anyone who has Medicare, Medicaid, or gets food stamps through SNAP, the SNAP program, they're going to be affected by this. That includes a lot of rural hospitals and nursing homes across the country. Those all rely heavily on Medicare and Medicaid. Once they're implemented, according to the Center for Healthcare Quality and Payment Reform, over 300 rural hospitals are at immediate risk of closing due to their severe financial challenges. These facilities are already operating on thin margins, and reductions in federal funding could push them over the edge, according to the U.S. News and World Report. Furthermore, a broader analysis indicates that at least 742 rural hospitals are vulnerable to closure, primarily due to low reimbursement rates from Medicare and Medicaid. I don't know about you, but I have family and friends who live in rural areas who go to those hospitals as their first urgent care center, right? Rural hospitals often serve as the primary or sole healthcare providers in their regions, and their closure would not only limit access to essential medical services, but also eliminate critical employment opportunities and economic stability in these communities. The National Rural Health Association, didn't even know it existed, emphasizes that investing in public payers like Medicaid is crucial to maintaining a strong rural health infrastructure. And let me just toss in what I just said before, nursing homes. Every nursing home across the country utilizes Medicare and Medicaid funding. So if either you yourself are headed in that direction toward needing a nursing home, or someone in your family, someone you know is in one, watch out, because the funds are going to be evaporating for them. And yes, by the way, all of this is expected to add nearly $4 trillion. I can't even fathom that number. It's going to add that much more onto the deficit, which is already way too large. That's going to be over the next decade. Well, that matters to my children. I may not be here. I'll be here for part of it, God willing, but they will, and any grandchildren, the next generations. This is not right, and it's not fair. And why else does it matter? Well, because it's being sold to all of us as a gift to the people. But that's really just a Trojan horse. It rewards donors while it punishes the poor and the middle class. It's reminding me of serfdom, where I heard the other day that every $1,000 that we earn a year will be taken away from us and just put in the pocket of some rich person. Isn't that kind of what the lords and the manors were all about? And it sets the stage for privatization of healthcare, privatization of education, and basic services. So if you think that you don't have the money to pay for private healthcare or to send your kids to private schools, too bad, because those are eventually going to be the only options if this keeps going this way. What's the translation? Well, this is empire economics. Think about it. This is empire economics, where you have the ruling class and you have all the serfs down here. Prosperity for the few up here, scarcity for the rest. Now, our faith tells us that every person is a child of divine worth, not a budget line to be erased. Firebirds, it's time for us to rise because we believe in a sacred economy of care, not cruelty. A world where compassion is currency and justice is non-negotiable. Dateline, Kentucky, Missouri, Virginia, probably some other states by the time this is uploaded, where a deadly tornado outbreak killed at least 27 people this week. It was fast, it was brutal, and for some it was entirely unexpected. Here's what's worse, some of those deaths might have been preventable. Over the past 2 years, the National Weather Service, our frontline defense against storms, the primary early warning system that we see tested on our devices, right? They have lost over 600 staff due to budget cuts. Some offices like Jackson, Kentucky, are operating with 30% fewer meteorologists than they need. In some areas, overnight monitoring was reduced, like storms only move in and hit in the daylight, right? How stupid is that? And the number of weather balloon launches, critical for tracking wind patterns, critical, has been slashed. All of this by DOGE. But weather warnings aren't extras. They're lifelines. And we are just starting the tornado and hurricane seasons. And on top of that, the government is slashing money and support for FEMA, Federal Emergency Management. These things are our lifelines, people, and when the systems that warn you are quiet, the storm gets louder. Our faith says the Spirit does not abandon us in a storm, but it does ask each one of us to reach out and help shelter others. So Firebirds, rise. Because we know that warnings matter, life matters, and silencing the watchtower is a betrayal of our shared humanity. Dateline, Cambridge, Massachusetts, where Harvard University is suing the federal government in a high-stakes legal battle that could reshape the role of higher education in a democracy, not just here but abroad. So you probably know what happened, right? 2 weeks ago, the Department of Homeland Security revoked Harvard's certification to host international students, affecting nearly 7,000 students from around the world. Just a couple of days ago, that was overturned by a federal court. I'm sure it will get appealed, so we haven't heard the last of it yet. Those 7,000 students from around the world constitutes about 25% of Harvard's undergraduate. Then the Department of Education froze $2.2 billion in funding for the university, citing failures to address anti-Semitism. Really? And the administration has even threatened to revoke Harvard's tax-exempt status. Not as easily done, but still a threat. They are out. The government is out to scare people into submission. But behind the headlines, this is about more than anti-Semitism or campus politics. Harvard has refused to implement loyalty oaths and cave into Trump's administrations. The Trump administration's demands against DEI. That's what started this whole thing. Harvard has pushed back against federal curriculum mandates. Why should a federal government be able to control what colleges teach? And, they've continued to support their global human rights initiatives, which the government is not happy about. And so now Harvard is being punished for asking questions, for educating critical thinkers, for not, falling in line. The United States has always been recognized as the number one place in the world for higher education. Harvard alone can claim the invention of things like the polio vaccine, the development of artificial skin for burn victims, gene research sparking the revolution in medicine and agriculture and bioethics. It was responsible in part for the COVID vaccine. It identifies cancer genes from research they've done. Harvard invented email and Facebook and computer graphics, and that's not even talking about their publishing arm and their awards. They have more Nobel laureates than any other university in the world, more than 150. And Pulitzer Prizes in journalism and the arts, almost too many to count. In 2025 alone, there were 5. And make no mistake, when governments start targeting universities, it's not about education. It's about control. It's about controlling the message. And it's about trying to control the minds of the next generation. Faith says, truth is holy, and those who seek it are prophets, not problems. Firebirds rise because we see education as sacred ground, and we will not stand by while inquiry is punished and knowledge is chained. So here's what we know in the Firebird movement. The powers that be are building walls, right? Between the rich and the poor, between truth and spin, between free thought and obedience. And there are storms, the natural and the political storms, that are exposing the cracks in our system. The cracks themselves aren't bad. They show us where we need to improve. We know that Bruce Springsteen recently talked about being deeply American and is showing us a way to stand up. And that is to not mince words. Call things for what they are. Don't be afraid. Don't be cowed by what people are threatening to do. These 3 things are just 3 of hundreds, these that we've mentioned in our dispatch. Literally hundreds of examples. And these 3, left unchecked, are killing us as a nation. But the good news is that that's just exactly where the Spirit does her best work. In the gaps, in the cracks, in the aftermath, in the firelight, when things are at their worst and we can't see a way out. While people are watching the show, we at Firebird are watching the signs. So what do? We wake up, we speak up, and we show up. We show up as truth tellers, we show up as bridge builders, and as justice seekers. We show up as people of faith. So this week, we dare you to call your representative and ask how they voted on the One Big Beautiful Act and why. We dare you to share the real story behind the tornadoes. Talk with people about these cuts to the weather service. And we dare you to post one thing you've learned or love about higher education, either that you experienced yourself or that you know to be true in the world, and why defending it matters. And then, gather your courage, find your people, and raise your voice. The Firebird movement was born for moments just such as this. We don't need to panic. We're not here to preach, but we are here to rise and to remember who we are. This is Deb Swift, Executive Director for Firebird Spirit, and all of us who are volunteering and part of the movement. Until next time, over and out.
You've been watching Firebird Dispatch, rising in love, grounded in justice. Join the movement at #Firebird Spirit.